You're welcome. My name is Dr. Chris Williams and I'm your host on Well Again. Well Again is your health magazine program in which we employ fail-proof protocol for regaining health and retaining health. You're welcome. Each time we have the opportunity of coming your way like this, we are so glad, and I think we really need to be grateful to God. We've been doing this for quite a number of years now, and God has been faithful. We thank Him for His goodness. We thank Him for His mercy. And we thank Him that you and I are still around and going on very strong. You're welcome. All right. I want us to discuss dealing with peptic ulcer today. Many people have asked me. They have said, why do you never talk about ulcer? Okay. And so the day has come now in which we'll talk about ulcer. Okay, so we are discussing peptic ulcer disease today. What is ulcer? Ulcer is a spot where the lining of the stomach or the lining of the intestines have been eaten up. Okay, the lining of the stomach or the lining of the or the intestines or any part of the gastrointestinal system have been eroded. Sometimes it's not only the lining that is eroded, sometimes it affects even underlying tissues. The muscles of the gastrointestinal system may also be eroded. Okay, so it leaves an internal wound. So an ulcer simply is a wound that has been created there. When we're talking about peptic ulcer, that has been created there because the lining of the gastrointestinal system has been eroded. Okay, it can occur in any part of the gastrointestinal system, but it's most common in the stomach and also in the duodenum. Okay, if it is present only in the stomach, we say it is it's gastric ulcer. If it is present only in the duodenum, we say it's duodenal ulcer. But if it is present both in the stomach and in the duodenum, we say it's peptic ulcer. So peptic ulcer is ulcer occurring both in the duodenum and in the stomach. What are the signs and the symptoms? Okay, the person will be provide adequate protection against the effect of digestive acids or digestive enzymes. So the lining of the intestine usually have some kind of protective mechanism against the effect of the digestive enzymes or the digestive acids. When that protective mechanism is lost, then the acids or the enzymes begin to digest the lining of the gastrointestinal system, and it can cause ulcer. What are the causes of ulcer? Several. Number one, stress. If somebody is under stress for a very long time, it can cause increased production of acid, and these acids can overwhelm the protection of the intestinal lining, and it can begin to digest the intestinal lining itself. Also, anxiety can cause it. If somebody is having anxiety, usually will have ulcer occur in people who are having anxiety diseases, anxiety, neurosis, and all kinds of things. Also, infection with Helicobacter pylori, H. pylori, commonly called, can also cause infection. H. pylori, in fact, in many people who have ulcer, especially ulcer that is not healing, they can isolate H. pylori bacteria from the ulcer wound. Okay, they can isolate it from the ulcer wound. All right, so H. pylori it's positive in ulcer. Also, taking of certain drugs like aspirin, or drugs that fall in the category of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. We call them NSAIDs. NSAIDs drugs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Which are these drugs? Drugs like ibuprofen, cataflam, diclofenac, all these drugs that we use to treat pain. Many of them, apart from things like paracetamol, many of them usually will erode the lining of the GIT, and it can lead to ulcer. All right, especially when those such drugs have been taken for over a very long time. Also, taking of drugs like steroids can also lead to ulcer. So if somebody is taking prednisolone or somebody is taking dexamethasone, okay, it can lead to ulcer. We also have ulcer commonly occurring in people who are heavy smokers and people who abuse alcohol. Heavy smoking and abuse of alcohol makes somebody to be prone to developing ulcer. It's also noted that ulcer occurs more commonly amongst black people, African Americans, and also Hispanics, Latinos, people who are from Mexico and from all those other places. Ulcer occurs more in them. Each time I read that in the books, I wonder, why are these things more common amongst us? Sickle cell disease is more common amongst black people also. Okay, and then stroke also is more common amongst black people. I'm wondering what is happening, but that's how it is. Now, so that's ulcer. Simple. It's very easily diagnosable, very easily diagnosed, and the signs and symptoms are not many. All right. Some people have battled ulcer for many years. A woman came to me and she had battled ulcer for over 25 years. And you know, she was in terrible pain when she came. And in 2-3 days, that ulcer was gone. It's important I say that if you know the right things to do and you are doing it, the ulcer that you have dealt with for decades can be gone in less than a week, because intestinal linings are being replaced. They are being replaced about every other week. They are being replaced. In fact, in 7 days, some parts of the intestine would have been replaced. That's the lining would have been replaced. So as you stop the things that cause the ulcer to be, and then you begin to develop new habits, you see that ulcer can heal very fast. Okay, we'll talk about the things to do in order to deal with ulcer. Number one, you need to work on your diet. What are the diets that predispose to ulcer? Number one, abuse of animal proteins. Abuse of animal proteins, very important. Abuse of animal proteins can aggravate ulcer. It can also lead to ulcer. When we come back, we'll continue to talk on the things you need to do in order to handle ulcer. Please do not go away. I'll be right back. Okay, you're welcome back. We are discussing how to deal with peptic ulcer. We have looked at the meaning of peptic ulcer. Peptic ulcer is when ulcer happens both in the stomach and in the duodenum. Duodenum is the first part of the gastrointestinal system. All right. We also looked at the signs and the symptoms. And we said pain in the epigastrum. Sometimes it can be radiated to the back. This pain most times will be relieved by taking milk or by taking antacids like Mace Mag and Gestid, or by vomiting. Okay, so if you have that kind of pain, most likely you are dealing with ulcer. All right, and other signs and symptoms are lower back ache. Okay, it can also be a sign of ulcer. Okay, ulcer can also wake people in the middle of the night. Pain that wakes you up in the middle of the night around about 1 a.m., 2 a.m., that may be ulcer. We looked at the things that bring about ulcer. Those are the causes. We said abuse of animal, stress and anxiety, infection with Helicobacteria pylori, H. pylori infection, and then also somebody who smokes and drinks. It can also cause the person to quickly have ulcer. There are other things that can predispose to ulcer, abuse of animal proteins. Eating a lot of proteins, especially animal proteins. This is what happens. When you eat animal protein, acid is needed. Let me put it this way. Acid is needed to digest protein. Acid is needed. Much more acid is needed to digest protein. So when you eat lorry loads or large volumes of proteins, especially animal proteins, your body will need to secrete much more acid. And when there's excessive acid in your stomach, it will begin to, after doing what it should do, it will begin to digest the lining of the intestine. Okay, so also abuse of sugary things, taking of sweet things. There is no getting away from it. We cannot avoid it. If you must be in health, you must reduce your intake of animal proteins. And I usually would suggest just stick with fish and don't do it too much. It's so very important. The eggs of this world, cow milk, beef, chicken, and all that, just cut them out if you can. All right, or you just become a social eater of these things. By a social eater, I mean somebody who just eats it once in a long while. All right, so abuse of sugary things, even sweet fruits. You know, some people, I see them, they think they are practicing health. They are blending pineapple, they are drinking. They are blending watermelon, they are drinking. They are all manners of things. Sweet fruits, generally, you have to eliminate them, especially those three: watermelon, pineapple, mango. Eliminate them. If you want to cheat, you can cheat with apples, you know, and or mango and all that. Not even apple, mango. It's not mango, sorry, banana. You can cheat with that. Okay, so pineapple, watermelon, apple, orange. You need to remove them because orange is also citric acid and it adds to the acid inside there. Okay, so what other things should you avoid? Reduce your intake of refined carbohydrates, pastas, pastries, spaghetti, macaroni, noodles, semovita, and all that. Reduce them. Reduce your intake of bread. Bread is not good food. I have to look down. I'm afraid to look at your face because somebody may want to punch me in the nose. Okay? Bread is not good food. Though it's one of the greatest, me personally, it's one of my greatest temptations, you know, that I fall to. When I see bread, I can't stand. So what we do is we don't buy bread in our house. We buy it only when the children have to want to eat it. And when that time, I will be struggling with them as if to say, and all that. So, because, and I know many people are in that category. Bread is not good food. It does so many things to your body. All right, it blocks your colon. Does so many things. I mean, look at how hard it can be. And then, you know, some people, after they have eaten bread, by the time they want to go to toilet, they have to grab the walls, and then they are praying in tongues, and all that. Okay, so things like that are not good for us. So what other things you do? Coffee, you need to remove them from your food. Don't abuse stimulants. So these are the things you need to remove from your food. And then also anything that is an additive to food, like preservatives or flavorings or colorings, and this affects use of chemical spices. I would not like to call their names. I usually will call their names when I counsel people, but not over TV. You know the chemical spices. Go for native or natural spices. Okay, spices made from locust, from locust bean, garlic. Ginger may be a bit too spicy for somebody who is dealing with ulcer. Okay, but if you want to, okay, so cinnamon, cardamom, oregano, natural spices. And you know, I agree that these things don't really have taste. Some of them are bland, but if you want to really be healthy, you need to stay away from them. Okay, so what are the things you should eat? Drink plenty, eat plenty of dark leafy vegetables, and then from time to time blend them and drink them. If you are having a crisis with ulcer pain, blend cabbage and drink it. blend cabbage and drink it. You can also blend vegetables and drink them. Cucumber, cabbage, lettuce, blending them regularly, drinking them, drink up to a liter in a day. These things cleanse your intestine and keep it clean. Okay, drinking of plenty, okay, I've said it, drink plenty of freshly juiced cabbage daily. It helps, even if you are wanting to deal with it. Okay, and then eat soft food. I'm just talking about some food dieting recommendations. Eat soft food if you are having an ulcer pain crisis. Foods like potato, like banana, like avocado. I know a banana is sweet. Don't eat it too much. Foods that are sweet. Don't eat foods like yam. Because when you eat some foods that are too hard, how does the stomach digest? By grinding. It will be grinding it, just much like the washing machine washes clothes. It will be grinding. So in the process of all that grinding, the ulcer and the pain will be increasing. Okay, so eat frequent small meals rather than sit down and eat a big load and then you are struggling to breathe. Rather eat